And let's now try and connect to my colleague joining me from Dubai, Shishir Shelar. Shishir, Prime Minister Modi spoke of the Green Credit Initiative at his opening address of the heads of state there in Dubai just moments ago. This Green Credit Initiative prioritizes two major activities: water conservation and afforestation. Tell us about the significance of this initiative, which India is co-hosting today.
Well, absolutely. If you look at the initiative that the government is focusing here, especially in COP28, is three important major initiatives. And one among them, of course, that we are just mentioning right now, that's Green Credit Initiative. We know that to take part, basically, if you have to bring everyone together for a particular cause here, obviously you also have to give them some kind of incentives here. That's really the government of UAE and the Indian government is actually working on it, and they actually try to take people from all walks of life, be it individuals, be it private players, private companies. So if they can join hands also with the government to fulfill their targets of emission reduction is concerned. And that's the reason Green Credit Initiative, the process has started from today, it has launched today, and Prime Minister has appealed everyone to be a part of this Green Initiative. Now, what is the Green Initiative? It obviously incentivizes the companies to actually follow the rules stipulated to reduce the carbon emission here. That's an important aspect here from different sectors, be it agriculture also, be it infrastructure, and different other sectors as well. And that's the reason I'm telling you that individual, the company, the private companies can also get a green trade benefit as well. And that's the reason the UAE and India have joined hands together and started this initiative. And what could be the better platform than COP28 that just the Prime Minister announced it. So that is, from Indian perspective, is quite important one. The other aspect, the Prime Minister will be focusing on is, of course, the Tech IT 2.0, the Lead IT. The Lead IT 2.0 initiative started with the help of Sweden. And India and Sweden started this initiative back in 2019, and now this is a Lead IT 2.0. We can say a better version of it, where both the countries are already joined in hands, and some other countries will also be part of it in future to tackle the problem of carbon emission here. So that's the second important aspect the Prime Minister will be attending here, the second meeting will be attending here. And the third is, of course, the transforming financial funding. Well, since beginning, we have seen that India is quite clear about its stand that if we want to bring a lot of change, especially with the developing countries as well, then we have to give them certain amount of consideration. Technical expertise is concerned, we have to provide them along with the fair amount of money share also or funding as well. And obviously, developing countries has more responsibility towards this particular initiative here. Because rightly, when this COP28 summit started in the morning, we've just heard these words from the Secretary General of the United Nations. He stated that the developing countries is not a cause because of this pollution here, or probably the issue of climate change, but still they are actually taking responsibility of it. And obviously, now the developed countries have to come forward and to help the developing countries. So that's the important aspect that UN Secretary General have mentioned in his speech here, and that's the reason. When we talk about these funding aspects, when it comes to climate change, then we should have to consider the developing countries as well, because most of these countries don't have access to a proper technological advancement. And here, most of the developed countries can come into picture. They can extend the technical support as well as the funding required to carry out certain operations in their own country. India is doing their bit, taking small steps every now and then. For example, if you look at the entire last 5 years, India has set the target till 2013, because we know that in Paris Agreement, India has set a very ambitious target here and have stated that it will fulfill a promise probably in the next few years. And in just a matter of 8 to 9 years, India almost is achieving the targets here. As far as if you look at if you listen to the Prime Minister's words itself, the Prime Minister in his address is mentioned that India contributes less than 4%. If you look at the population, it's quite large in number, and that's the reason the carbon emission currently India is having is almost 4%, which is quite less. Going forward, again, the important aspect the Prime Minister has mentioned that the collective efforts is quite important here. Why Prime Minister is putting upon this fact is, of course, until and unless the developed and developing countries both comes together, we cannot solve the menace of climate issues. And that's the reason The collective effort from both the sides is required here. Obviously, the responsibilities are different of the developing countries and the developed countries. Each country will have to understand its own responsibility and have to carry out, take the stringent actions in near future.
Right. Shishir, COP27 in Egypt was all about agreement of the setting up of the loss and damage fund. Now, COP28 has begun actually with $475 million roughly being pledged for the operationalization of this loss and damage fund for developing countries. Your take on this financial commitment and the fund itself?
Well, absolutely, Tanvi. You know that exactly when last year, when loss and damage fund announcement was made in COP27, there were actually a lot of speculation about some of the countries there, and especially as far as the developed countries there, that how exactly the developed countries will contribute to this particular fund here. It's been 1 year now, and we have seen a very little progress into it. But of course, there is still a lot way to go here. And in this particular year, India has also been quite, voice-force about this particular initiative, that why developed countries are not contributing it, because it's the right time that they should, come into the picture and help the developing countries to come out from the climate change issues here. And that's the important one aspect that country is focusing on. Currently, we can see that some of the countries have agreed to contribute in this particular fund. But this is quite, at this point in time, if you look at the fund overall, which is quite less in numbers.
Yes.
Going forward, we may expect that more and more countries can come forward and be a part of this entire cause here and contribute more towards loss.
In fact, I was about to ask you that, yes, loss and damage fund seems not actually there of the $100 billion commitment, but what the UAE president has also announced today for giving $30 billion climate fund for global climate solutions. So definitely the ball has been set rolling. So one hopes that it further gives, impetus to further investments for climate action, climate solutions worldwide. We leave this discussion here for now. Shishir, thank you very much for those updates from your end in Dubai. Now, delegates at COP28 received a sweet surprise upon entering the hall today. These were complimentary chocolates with a crucial message. The wrappers had a message written